of getting to know him and his wife over the last couple of weeks. And these guys are good on my hand. They deserve it. You guys are top notch. Amen. Well, my family and I have the opportunity to travel a lot. And anybody that knows me, I am a little bit of I like museums. I don't know how to say it in a fancy way. I like museums. I like to any town that we go to, I visit a museum. I love museums. Do you guys know what I'm talking? You guys like museums? All right. Well, some time back, we had the opportunity to visit what was called the Titanic Museum. I don't know. You may have one of those here. I'm not sure. But I'll never forget when we go in. There's a piece of paper that they give you with the name on that piece of paper. And then you take the paper, they said put it away for later, you put it in your pocket, then you go through the tour, and there's things from the past that they brought up from the bottom. There's life jackets and ballroom gowns and all these different things. There's actually one place that you can put your hand down in the frigid water and see how cold it was on the night of the sinking of the Titanic. But after you get through all the tour and you see all this stuff, you get to a room in the very back, and there's a great wall with a list of names. And on the other side of the room, there's a little smaller wall with another list of names. And then you get that piece of paper that they gave you at the beginning of the tour, and you get to try to find the name that's on your paper. One list is the name of the people that were lost at sea, and the other side was the list of the people that were saved. And since I got back from that, I just was fascinated with this, so I just began to do a little bit of research on the story of the Titanic. And I'm going to tell you, those of you that have seen the movie, that is not even half of what really happened on board the ship that day. So I put together a little bit of information of the sinking and of the story of the Titanic. And I found out that before, we know it today, Titanic is a household name. It was the ship that went down, the ship that sank. But even before that ship had sank, it was a household name. For years and years and years, people watched and waited for the unveiling of this ship that they called the Titanic. It was a symbol of the future. It was a symbol of man's accomplishment, of earthly wisdom. It was the greatest minds of science and technology. The best of the best had been put together to build this ship. And if you begin to read the testimonies and the witnesses of there was a sense of look how far that we've come. Look what mankind can do. You see, there was a spirit of man trusting in their own strength and not in the Lord's. There was a subtle sense of we don't need God anymore. We've evolved. Now, you'll not see that on the headlines of the New York Times of the day, but that spirit was there. One guy even had the boldness to stand and say that God himself could not sink this ship. But yet, even though the ship had been built by the greatest minds, the best of the best had put this ship together, but ironically on its very first voyage, that which they said was impossible happened. The very first trip that the ship took, it sank to the bottom of the ocean. You don't have to look very far to see that even in this world today, there is a sense that the world is saying we don't need God anymore. Look at all the things that we have. We've got science, and we've got the greatest minds in science and the greatest minds of technology, and there's this movement going along the world. Why do we need church? And why do we need religion? And why do we need Jesus? I'm going to tell you, friend, because Acts 4:12 still says that there is no other name under heaven given among men by which we must be saved. I'm going to tell you, Muhammad ain't going to save you. Allah is not going to save you. There's no other religion. There's no other way. Jesus said, I am the way, I am the truth, and I am the life. Yes. But it's every man's choice to either receive him or to reject him. Some will put their faith in science and technology. Some people put their faith in doing good deeds or being a good person. Others will reject this gospel altogether with an attitude of I'll take my chances with eternity. How many souls will be saved? And how many will be lost? I think the psalmist David said it best when he said, some trust in chariots and some trust in horses. I'm going to tell you, friend, as for me and my house, we will trust in the Lord. So I've just got a simple message tonight. I know I've got a little bit excited the last few nights, but I've just put something a little bit simple together. And I've simply titled, Believe on Jesus. Amen. Believe on Jesus. And we're going to begin in a very familiar passage of Scripture, Acts chapter 16 and verse 25. Here, as you're turning, we arrive on a scene that Paul and Silas have been beaten. They've been thrown into prison. They actually cast an unclean spirit, a demonic-possessed woman spirit out of a woman. And when they did that, well, the people that owned her, they got a little bit upset. They threw Paul and Silas into prison. We'll pick it up here on Acts 16, verse 25. If you're ready, somebody say amen. If you'd like, you can stand for the reading of the word. It says, but at midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God. And the prisoners were listening to them, and suddenly there was a great earthquake, so that the foundations of the prison were shaken. And immediately all the doors were opened, and everyone's chains were loosed. And the keeper of the prison, awaking from his sleep and seeing the prison doors open, supposing that the prisoners had fled, drew his sword and was about to kill himself. But Paul called with a loud voice, saying, do yourself no harm, for we are all here. Then he called for a light, ran in and fell down trembling before Paul and Silas. And he brought them in and said, sirs, what must I do to be saved? Right. So they said, believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and you will be saved, you and your household. Then when they spoke the word of the Lord to him and to all that were in the house, and he took them the same hour of the night and washed their stripes, and immediately he and his family were baptized. Now when he brought them into his house, he set food before him, and he rejoiced, having believed in God with all his household. Lord, I thank you once again for the opportunity to be in your house. Lord, I thank you for every person, Lord, that's found their way here tonight. Lord, I believe that this is a God-ordained moment. Lord, I pray everyone here, Lord, if there's any that do not know you, Lord, if there is any that's bound in the shackles of sin, Lord, I speak life tonight. Lord, Holy Spirit, will you have mercy and begin to move across the room and convict and convince us. Lord, draw us back to you. Lord, bless every person. Bless this word in the mighty name of Jesus, we pray.
In the name of Jesus.
Amen and amen. Now, here we are in the story of Acts, and we see the hand of God moving by way of a great earthquake. The Bible says that the prison doors shook so hard that they literally fall off the hinges, and all of the doors are open. Verse 27 says, and then the keeper of the prison awakened. I want you to understand tonight that God does not always manifest himself in a still small voice. There are some times when God will literally have to shake you to get your attention. I heard someone say one time, he said, it was when I got to the end of my rope. That's when I found the beginning of God. Sometimes God will let us go through some things. Sometimes God will let us hit rock bottom so that he can wake us up from the life that we're living. How many times have we seen throughout the Scripture the hand of God move by way of an earthquake? At the crucifixion and the tearing of the veil, and the earth shook, and when the stone was rolled away, and the earth, time and time again, we see the hand of God move. Why? To shake the people out of a spiritual slumber, so that souls might be saved. And such is the desire that God has for every person. Every soul in the room tonight, his greatest desire is to see you saved. 2 Peter 3 and 9 says that the Lord is not slack concerning his promise, as some count slackness, but is long-suffering toward us, not willing that any should perish, but all should come to repentance. See, the deep truth of the matter is it was not a physical sleep that the jailer was awakened from. The prison began to shake, and suddenly there was an awareness. The jailer was aware that he was dead in his transgressions. He was dead in his sins, and he had the guilty, dead conscience. And he come running out, and he said, "Somebody tell me, what must I do to be saved?" And they said, "Believe on the Lord Jesus Christ, and you will be saved. Now, I want to be clear that believing in Him, believing in His existence is not the same as believing on Him. The Bible tells us that even the demons and the devil himself, he knows that God is real. He believes in His existence. But see, when we begin to believe in Jesus, when we begin to follow Him the way the Word of God tells us to, suddenly there is a change that begins to take place. See, the problem that I have so many times with people is people want to tell me how saved they are. And listen, I can't judge people, but the Word will judge them. And listen, the Bible says that you will be known by your fruits. And I'm going to tell you, Christians don't live in sin. You may get caught up. I'm not going to say you're going to be perfect. You may mess up from time to time, but there is an awareness in your life that I can't be here. If we go out and maybe we go fishing, and you go out and you catch a fish and you pull that fish up out of the water. See, the nature of a fish is to live under the water. You take that fish and throw it up on the bank. He can breathe a little bit, but he has an awareness that he's in a different place that he should be in. You take it, you throw it back in the water. He may survive. But if you leave it on the bank, he's not going to last very long. Same way with us. Our nature is not to breathe water. We breathe air. We go out, we get in a swimming hole, you put my head down on the water, eventually I'm going to quit kicking. Why? Because that's not my nature. Listen to me. There is no such thing as a Christian homosexual. There is no such thing as a Christian fornicator. Listen, we can't live in sin. Jesus, the Word of God says, abhor what is evil and cling to that which is good. The Word of God says, be holy, for I am holy. We can't live in sin and be saved. And we can't approve of it. On the night of April 4th, 1912, the renowned Titanic set across the Atlantic Sea. It was a magnificent 46,000 tons of steel. It was 11 stories high and some 3 or 4 city blocks long. It was the largest cruise liner to ever have been built. One passenger said that to stand on the deck that night gave one such a wonderful peace and security. But at 11:40 p.m., the greatest maritime disaster to have ever taken place happened. The great Titanic, the pride of the White Star Fleet, suddenly struck an iceberg and a 300-foot gash tore down the side of the ship and grinded her to a halt. There were some 2,340 people on board, of which only 705 were saved, and 1,635 souls were lost at sea. It was done not as the world's most luxurious and the world's safest ship to ever set sail, but it was also it was iconic. This thing, there was nothing like it. It was the safest ship to ever travel across the ocean. The Titanic was a picture of luxury. I know that many of you have probably seen the cruise liners up today with the great tennis courts and the golf courts and all the swimming pools and all this stuff. We see them everywhere, but in this day of time, they had never seen anything like it. This was the very first of its time. I found out that the average salary in that day was some $500 to $600 per year. The best suites, the best ticket for the suite was some $4,300 for the best suite on the ship. It was only $2,300 for the one that didn't have the outside access. I don't know about you, but that's a lot of money back then. That's a lot of money now. But after all, the ship was unsinkable. It was the largest ship to ever be built. It was some 11 stories tall, 3 or 4 city blocks long. It had 15 watertight compartments. It had a 6-foot belly of steel running down the boat. But not enough lifeboats. But after all, who would have ever dreamed that the ship would be in an accident, yet alone sink? The world said that this ship is unsinkable. The world said that this is impossible. Can you imagine that there was never a ship that had been built that had ever given the world more peace or more security? Can you imagine if you could travel tonight, if you could go back in time, and all these people are beginning to get on the ship, what if you could go back and warn them? Knowing what we know today, what would happen if we went back and began to try to awaken them? Friend, this ship is going to go down. Friend, you may be lost at sea for eternity. How many souls would be saved? Knowing what we know on this side, how many souls would be saved? And how many would be lost? See, there's still going to be many lost because so many people that have heard this word preached. That's right. They've heard the gospel, they've heard the word, but yet so many don't believe on Jesus. You know why people don't go to church? They don't believe. You know why people don't pay their tithe? Because they really don't believe that God's going to open the windows of heaven and pour out a blessing on their life. You know why people play around with sin? They don't believe that God's going to... People tell me, well, how in the world can I love Him? Is there anything so bad that I could do? Is there any place, any type of sin that I can commit that the love of God, that the cross can't redeem me for? Sounds pretty good. But the answer to that is yes. Unrepentance will keep you out of heaven. Listen, God shed His blood. Listen, the same way many of you last night received the Holy Ghost. Yes. How many of you received the Holy Spirit this week? Let me see your hand. Lord, how many of you it was involuntary? How many of you it was just something that happened, it was forced? Not one hand. See, it's a two-part. Listen, the Holy Spirit said, I'm going to give it to you if you'll receive it. The same way with salvation. Right. We've got to put ourselves in the position to receive what God has. It doesn't come free. We've got to receive salvation. How many people got out of bed this morning just like they did? There are people that got on the ship every day of their life. They got up and they got dressed and they went about their way just like they'd always had. How many people got up this morning and yet so many people, many that have even heard the gospel time and time again, and yet so many people by car accident or by some other means, so many people won't be back home. All across this nation, they're not coming home. Right. How many souls will be saved? And how many will be lost? I found out that there was a total of 20 lifeboats on the ship. Every lifeboat, if it was filled to capacity, it could hold a number of 58 passengers. That means that if every boat had been full to capacity, there would be some 2,340 people. It was possible for only 1,160 to be saved. I found out that the crew was untrained for emergency. Today, if you've been on a cruise ship, they'll take you out and they'll show you the life jackets and they'll show you what to do. They call it a muster station. And they get you all ready and they show this is your lifeboat, this is your vest. They tell you all. But in this day, they didn't have any of this. Nobody knew what to do. No one knew where to go. I found out that many of the lifeboats didn't have the proper provision. Many of them had no compass. Many of them had no water. They had no food. They didn't have any. As a matter of fact, many even had the plugs had been pulled out of the bottom of the boat. They weren't ready. How many people will stand before God without the proper provision? How many people will stand before God and maybe it looks good in the eyes of man, but how many people will stand before God and they'll point to the good deeds, or they'll point to the mama and the daddy and the life that they live. They'll point to all these different things. I'm going to tell you, friend, religion without a relationship hasn't saved anybody. We must have Jesus. We must believe on Jesus. There were 3 warnings that came out from the crow's nest that night. Time and time again, the phone began to ring on the bridge. Yet no one answered. Just a few seconds before the crash, finally an officer picked up the phone, but it was too late. Many of the people that were downstairs, they were drinking, they were partying, they were having a big time. They were gambling, all these things were going on. And suddenly the iceberg is struck. So gamblers came up to the top deck and began to look around to assess the damage. After they looked around for a little bit, they went back down to the belly of the boat to finish their card game, to sink. with the ship. Even after they had been warned of the danger time and time again. They'd been warned over and over that the Titanic had a hole in it. The ship was sinking. And yet so many went on to bed that night, unafraid and believing in the Titanic's ability to stay afloat. Others began to joke about life jackets. Some of them even put on the life jackets and they danced around on the top of the ship. The ship is literally on the iceberg, a hole in it, it is sinking, and they're laughing and making fun. My God. There were some folks getting filled with the Holy Spirit last night. I'm going to tell you, there were some folks laughing. Right. Come on. Let me tell you, friend, this thing is real. The Holy Spirit is real, and if you will allow it, it will change your life. They're not just making up words. This thing is real. And listen to me, it's for every person. The Bible says for Jew and Gentile. And if you want it, you can have it tonight in Jesus' name. Amen. Some of them even begin to refuse to put the life jackets on at all. They begin to say, well, why should I put that dirty life jacket on? You know that you're just going to put us on the lifeboat. You're going to set us out there a little ways. We're going to sit out there and waste our time for a few hours. Then you're just going to bring us right back. Why should we get on the lifeboat? Many people are laughing at what this book says. Why do I need Jesus? Why do I need church? Many people are laughing. Listen, friend, there is a heaven to gain and a hell to shun. This thing is real. And I'm about as American. I love this country. I love America, but hear me. America's got a hole in it. But it was not very long ago when they lit up the White House and they colored it up in rainbow colors. I'm going to tell you, I believe that may have been the tipping point. Right. We're sinking. Don't look to your left. Don't look to your right. Sometimes we think, well, it's okay if they can get away with it or this or that. This world is sinking, friend. This world is falling away. Only Jesus. Only Jesus. People say, well, I don't feel that way. Well, I want to do this, or I just want to follow my heart. The Word of God says that the heart it deceives. Listen, this is why we've got to get in His Word. Don't listen to your flesh. Don't even listen to your own thinking. Listen to God's Word. I preach it everywhere I go, to read your Bible and pray every day. It will change your... Don't just come to church on Sunday. Open it up on Monday and Tuesday. The Word of God is sharper than any two-edged sword. And if you will allow it, it will shape your life and change your way of thinking. Acts 4:12 says that there is no other salvation in any other, for there is no other name under heaven given among men by which we must be saved. Amen. Only Jesus alone can save us. But many people today are looking for a work without a faith. Many people are looking for a crown without a cross, or a religion without a relationship. But we must have Jesus. Amen. Someone asked one of the gentlemen by the name of John Jacob Astor. He was debatably one of the richest men in the world at the time. And they asked him as he's standing out on the deck of the ship, one of them asked him, they said, John Jacob, where is your life jacket? Where is your life belt, friend? At which they heard him to respond, I didn't really think that I would need it. Friend, sadly, there will be a day that many people will stand before God at the great white throne judgment. And the question will be asked, what did you do with Jesus? And so many people will say, I didn't really think I would need him. Friends, we need him. You need him in your life. This thing is real. It's heaven and it's hell. And listen, don't be deceived. Don't be deceived. You must have Jesus. Do you know what some of them did? As the ship's going down, and one lady went out and she began to chip off a piece of ice. And she was carrying this giant piece of ice down to her room, and they asked her, lady, what are you doing? The ship's sinking. Why are you carrying that ice for? At which she responded, well, I'm going to take this back to my friends in New York City. She said, I want to take it as a trophy or momentum to show them what had happened. Little did she know that that ship had gone as far as it was going to go. Many of the people, they could have been saved had they got into the lifeboat. Lifeboat after lifeboat pulled away from the ship with only 10 and 12 and 15 when they had a capacity of nearly 60 per boat. Many are pulled away not because there was not enough room, but because the people refused to step onto the lifeboat. Many people will take Jesus as their Lord and Savior if they really believed what this word says. If they really believed that there was a heaven and people say, oh, there's no hell. But the Word of God says that Lazarus lifted his eyes in torment. Reality struck when there were several explosions across the ship. And the remaining lifeboats that were left, there become a stampede, but for so many, it was too late. Can you imagine all the women and the children, all the rich and the poor, some of the richest people in the world, they're standing on the deck of the lifeboat. Can you imagine the furs and the fancy suits and the diamond necklaces strung about necks? But in that moment, they were no different than the poorest, fighting their way to the top deck in hopes of a way to survive. One survivor said that the final parting was terrible. He said eyewitnesses said that women were being pulled from their husbands. Children were being pulled away from their mamas and daddies. And some of them literally thrown onto the lifeboats. One eyewitness said that he'll never forget a little boy that was holding on to his daddy. They said passerby, just people kept coming by time and time again, and they kept trying to get this little 12-year-old boy to get onto the lifeboat. And they said every person that would try to pull them away from their daddy, that little boy would just grab back hold a little bit tighter to his daddy. And that daddy would hold back on a little bit tighter to that little boy. And they said that that son and that daddy went down beneath the water together. Now, some may say, well, what a romantic story. That little boy would love his daddy so much, or that daddy would love that little boy so much. But I'm going to tell you, friend, if that daddy really loved that little boy, he would have took him and thrown him onto the lifeboat. Now, he may have loved him as far as the world's concerned. He may have provided shelter and food and clothing. That little boy may have had the best clothes that money could buy. But y'all listen to me now. But if a mama or a daddy fails to teach their children about Jesus, amen. Amen. Take your kids to church. Don't just tell them to go. Don't just tell them how to live. Show them with your life. This world's sinking. We've got a generation coming up behind us. It's dangerous. They don't even know what right is. They don't know what wrong is. They're lovers of themselves. They call evil good and good evil. We've got to tell them. It's not enough just to go to church anymore. It's not enough just to go and sing the songs and shake the pastor's hands. There's a world that is sinking around us. People that are dying and souls that are being swept into eternity, friends. We've got to tell them. We've got to show them the way. Did you know that at the sinking of the Titanic, there was another ship within 10 miles away? Later, there was an investigational hearing, and they began to ask, why didn't you help? Why didn't you help them? You were so close. Why didn't you reach? Didn't you hear their calls of distress? He said, I never heard them. He said, as a matter of fact, at midnight, we turned off the radio. We went to bed. He said, I didn't know that they were sinking. He said, even the watchman, he said, as he watches from the deck or from the crow's nest, he said, we can literally see the ship. And he said, deck by deck begin to go down beneath the water. And he said, the lights begin to go out. And he said, that we just thought that her being faster than we, that she was sailing away in the distance. How many people are sinking around us? How many people are lost? Listen, we are called to share this gospel at any cost. Right. The Word of God says that he that winneth souls is what? When the jailer called out, what must I do to be saved? God had a man in position. Yes, he had somebody ready to answer the call. There was a man by the name of John Harper in that day of time. He was a well-known preacher. He was a big-time deal in that day. John Harper was on the ship with his daughter. He was a widower, and they said that early on as the ship began to go down and lifeboat after lifeboat began to leave with just 10 and 12 and 14 different, just not even nearly full to capacity. They said that he could have had the opportunity to get onto the lifeboat, but he put his child on and left her. He said, there's so many souls that are about to perish. He said, I've got to give them one more chance to hear this gospel. And they said that he began to run to deck after deck, to ship. This man is running to the lifeboats and he's shouting into them, believe on Jesus, give your life to Jesus. You are standing on the brink of eternity. They said he ran up to one man on the deck of the ship and he began to plead with him. He began to plead with him to accept Jesus and to hear the gospel. And they said that man sternly rejected him. And in that moment, he took off that life jacket and he said, then you're going to need this more than me. That man believed. That man believed. 4 years later, after the Titanic sank, there was a survivor reunion where the victims who survived began to get together. They began to share their account of what had happened. One survivor recounted his interaction with the preacher, John Harper. He said he was out floating around in the ocean. He said he heard in the darkness, he could hear somebody swimming up close to him. He said this man came and began to say, believe on the Lord Jesus Christ. He said the first time he came up, he said, I pushed him away. I didn't have time for that stuff. He said, I don't know what happened, if he got turned around in the water, exactly what happened. He said, but later on, he said, I heard that same noise, and he came up to me, and with a second opportunity, he began to plead with me to give my life to Jesus. And he said, right there in that moment, he said, I'm out in the middle of the ocean, just hanging on to a piece of debris. He said, there's nothing but miles of water between me and the ocean floor. And he said, having a second opportunity, I gave my life to Jesus. And he said that was the last time that anyone had ever seen the man, John Harper. He stood in that meeting, he said, I am the last convert of John Harper. Sister, will you come and begin to play lightly on the piano? Friends, make no mistake, we are in the last days. Listen, Jesus could come back tonight. And you may say, well, preacher, I've heard that preached time and time again. I've heard preachers talk about Jesus is coming back, and I better get ready. And I've heard it so many times. And many will stand before God in judgment. And they'll say, Lord, I heard it preached time and time again. And he will say to you, sir, man, he will say, did I not give you enough for it? This thing is real. This thing is real. As the final lifeboats pulled away, survivors said the band that earlier on that day had been playing all the hits. They said that they could hear in the distance the orchestra, they began to strike up. And suddenly something had shifted. And in the last moments of their life, they were playing Nearer, My God, to Thee. One man was asked, why didn't you get to the lifeboat? Why didn't you get in the lifeboat when you had a chance? He said, I think I'll take my chances and stay. I don't know who I'm preaching to tonight. I know that my message was a little bit simple. But I can't help but feel in my spirit that there's somebody. You've had that opportunity. Maybe you prayed prayers. I don't know. But there's been some games that have been played. I don't usually preach on salvation on Sunday nights or on Wednesday nights. But I feel like somebody needs to get right. And I've just come by again to present this message to you. Will you believe on Jesus? I'm not going to ask you to bow your head or close your eyes. Those of you that know me, I believe in public profession. Yes. Jesus openly carried the cross down Calvary, and everyone was watching. I don't know how else to plead. This could be your last chance. Jesus is here. And He's saying, come. Will you come, friend? Don't wait on anything or anybody. If the Holy, listen, it's not my words that are moving on you. It's the Holy Spirit that's moving on you. And you say, preacher, I got something that I need to put on this altar. Will you come, friend? How many souls will be saved? How many will be lost? Let's do it like this. I'm going to invite everyone that will. You say, well, preacher, you didn't pump me up tonight. You didn't run and jump and shout tonight. It's not the gospel. I get a little excited sometimes. Can we just spend a little time in the altar? And let our prayer be, God, use me. Lord, I know that there's those that are lost. I know that there's those that you're putting me in contact with. Lord, let me be the preacher. Lord, let me be the one to pull them out. And friend, if you've got some sin in your life, we need to kill it on the altar.